Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s. If you don't stop pestering me, one of these mornings I'm going to show up and start milking that cow. This is episode 197, recorded August 30th, 2023.
Gruesome Magazine.
I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host Jeff Mohr and I will tackle another classic, or not so classic, film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week are my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this. I was surprised by this movie.
You ready to go for some Kingdom of the Spiders?
I are.
Eight-legged chair. All right. Also joining us tonight
or 12 if you go by the thing he drew on the
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know what the heck that guy drew on there. Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, and special effects guru, and all-around nice guy. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing fine. Listen, as soon as an animal has more than 2 legs, it doesn't matter. It's just, might as well have 100. Just creepy.
Yeah.
Just creepy.
Yeah, so, wait a minute. More than 2. So, cats should have like 100 legs?
Oh, geez, no. I take it
you
back.
You mean 4 legs?
Four. That's, yeah.
You'll give them 4. Okay.
I'll give you 4. I'll spot you an extra 2.
I have no idea what we're doing tonight. All right. We were here to review Kingdom of the Spiders. This is a 1977 film. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. But before we do, Jeff Mohr has a little something to say about Play Now Media.
Yeah, we're partnering with Play Now Media, and you can find all of the Decades of Horror episodes on some of their streaming channels. In particular, classic era, 70s and 80s are on the Wicked Horror TV channel.
Whoop. That's
bada bing, bada boom.
That is so awesome.
It is. It's very cool. I love seeing that up there. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he's about to load a batch on. He usually does it around the end of the month or beginning of the month.
Load a batch. All right, we are going to review Kingdom of Spiders from 1977. This is a interesting film. This also happens to be one of the films that Santos and I talked about on back in the day on a different podcast when we were going through the best of the 1970s, which ignited the show. It gave us the launching pad to start the Decades of Horror 1970s, and this is one of the films chosen. Jeff reminded me that Santos chose this for 1977 because in 1977 I chose The Car. of course. But this could have easily been my second choice. Kingdom of Spiders. William Shatner is a blast. This film, especially the more you're afraid of actual spiders, because real spiders are in this one, not CGI.
Sure.
No CGI spiders. Couple rubber ones, but no CGI ones. A lot of hairy, fuzzy, long-legged, huge-ass tarantulas running around in this. So this is going to be a blast. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go through our first impressions. Those will be our review. What did we think of it? When did we first see it? And all that fun stuff. And then we'll get into a discussion about the film, the cast, and all the interesting tidbits about the film. We'll dissect it, if you will. This is going to be, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this so much.
Vivisect.
If you really want to get that deep into it, that's exactly what we will do. All right. Where do I start? Let's start with our, do we want to do the card right away? Should we do the card right? Let's do the card first, just so I won't forget it. Doink. Kingdom of the Spiders from 1977, directed by John Bud Cardos, written by Richard Robinson and Alan Caillou. Maybe. Cast includes William Shatner, Tiffany Bolin, Lou Dressler, Woody Strode, Marcy Lafferty, Natasha Ryan, David McLean, and 5,000 million spiders. The production company was Arachnid Productions. Ooh. Filming locations is Arizona. Filming dates were, why did I do that? I don't know, but let's keep going. March 14th through April 77. Release date was August of 77 in San Francisco, and then the rest of the U.S. in November. That's kind of awesome. The budget is $500,000.
That was a weird one, Doc. Wikipedia said $1 million for the budget, but then in the article about it, it talked about a $500,000 budget. So I don't know.
Somewhere between a half and a full. All right, domestic box office. Whoop, yep.
But 50,000 of that was for spiders.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure. Domestic English. It's easy for many. Domestic box office was 17 million. So that's
nice return.
I was
nice
going to say
return on the investment.
Smells like a profit to me.
Yeah.
Also known as Le Horrible Invasion. That's so terrible. That's a horrible pronunciation. That's the French version. And the German version is what, Jeff?
Motorderspinnen.
That's a great time. Is that just the
Killer
word for spiders?
I was going to say that. Killer
spiders.
Spiders.
Yeah.
Or Death Spider, right?
Yeah. Murdering spiders, assassin spiders. I don't know.
Oh, man. That's a great name.
Very much so. Synopsis is, in rural Arizona, countless killer tarantulas are migrating through a farm town, killing everything living in their path. The town's veterinarian will do everything in his power to survive the onslaught.
Yep.
And I love that shot of the spider there coming out of the little can. Oh, my goodness.
That came from Woody Strode's.
That's right.
Woody Strode. All right. I want to know. I picked this one, didn't I? I want to know, though, what you guys, when did you first see this movie? What was your first impression of it? When did you see it again? And if you did it hold up? And Bill Mulligan, I'd love to hear your thoughts first.
Oh, I saw this so long ago on TV, and I suspect it was cut up a bit. I mean, it's not what I would call a hyper gory movie or anything, but I just feel like it didn't quite have the punch that I was hoping for. And watching it again recently, yeah, and a nice print too. As I recall, it looked really kind of cheap and dingy. And no, I saw a nice print. Holds up pretty well. I think it's good. It's not a great movie, but it's good of its type. It's what it sets out to be. Just a fun exploitation movie that kind of exploits our skeeviness around spiders. Now, I'm not an arachnophobic. My wife is. Although she's funny about that. She's arachnophobic, but she's the one who will say, "Hey, for Halloween, could you make me up like spiders are crawling out of my skin?" I'm like, "Who are you?" And she enjoyed watching this because it's kind of fun watching other people covered with living spiders. But it's, even though I'm not really arachnophobic, there is something about watching actors having what are to be real spiders landing on them, real giant spiders. And I know they say tarantula only hurts about as much as a bad sting from a hornet or a wasp. Well, I don't really enjoy that much. So the thought of that coming from a large hairy spider, that's not really going to make me feel better. But yeah, I know I have had friends who kept them as pets. I don't get that at all. But okay. All right. But yeah, this is fun. It's got a great ending, a real 70s ending. That's for sure.
Great downbeat ending, isn't it?
It's got a fun cast and a cast of, folks that I recognize and then folks that I don't recognize, but Jeff recognizes. So, a lot of familiar faces. I bet they had as much fun making this movie as you can when you're going to have tarantulas dumped on you. So I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you picked it, Doc.
Excellent. I wonder, Bill, if this was a movie of the week when it came out on, because a lot of film back in the 70s, the film from theaters would be a movie of the week a year or so later.
I feels like it would be one. I can almost hear the announcer, blah, 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 Kingdom of the Spiders.
It sounds like
but then they go in and
right?
Yeah, they cut everything out and then just no, we can't have that. That looks like a little kid being killed by a spider. Chop. And it's like, well, this giant spider invasion doesn't look like it's going very well. That's a different movie.
That is a different movie. That one's wow. We did that one though.
We did.
Jeff, when did you first see this? What was your first impression, and does it hold up today?
I actually think this is the first time I've seen it all the way through. And I was pleasantly surprised. This is one of those ones where I had a little bit of condemnation prior to investigation. Seen lots of cheesy spider movies and seen lots of cheesy Shatner acting, but this ain't it. I'm surprised. This was, I think, he might have been a lot better off doing horror. You know, I'm thinking Devil's Reign and this might be two of his better performances. But anyway, in this one, I think he does really well. And I like the other characters too. I thought Tiffany Bowling was excellent as the specialist in poisonous animals, poisonous insects and stuff. Anyway, I had to go look it up. There's lots of stuff I looked up for this movie, which I will bore the hell out of you with later on.
Nice.
Anyway, I enjoyed it, and the spiders. If you're looking at them, most of them are moving. Yeah. I mean, even with that, I had some of that. Oh wow! I swear that those spiders on that bedspread with that little girl sitting in the next to in the middle.
Oh, that kid, yeah.
Just didn't seem to bother her. Although she was fairly veteran already by then. Lots of cool stuff. We get to see Shatner ride like the wind on a horse and rope a calf. Yeah. And I don't think it was a stuntman. It sure looked like him. He swings that pickup into that driveway and the back end spins around and pulls up and there's no cut. And he gets out of the driver's seat. I'm like, wow, he really did that, huh?
I'm sure he loved it.
They had anyone. He's also standing outside the building they blow up when the plane crashes.
Oh, that's true.
So anyway, I enjoyed the heck out of it. Woody Strode and the pickup Woody drove looked just like my grandpa's pickup. I don't know if it's the same model, but it looked the same color, the same wood sideboards. Yeah, except my grandpa looked more like the guy that needed his flat tire fix. But anyway,
oh my God.
I enjoyed the hell out of this. It's certainly got some cheesy laugh at dialogue, but it's freaky too.
Oh man! All right, as you probably know, this is absolutely one of my favorite '70s films. I don't like spiders. So this having real spiders is hella creepy, even though they're not giant spiders like we get today. If we're going to make a spider movie today, the spiders are going to be like no smaller than the size of a large dog.
Yeah,
or maybe
freaks.
Or they might be as large as Godzilla himself. Yeah, so it's which is in and of itself is a lot of fun. But this one, I just remember because I saw it as a child, and it was like I was saying with Bill earlier, it was either as a movie of the week or it was part of a late night thing or Saturday afternoon thing. I just remember seeing and I knew who William Shatner was, so that was awesome. And of course, I don't know if I saw Devil's Reign, but I knew about Devil's Reign at that point. I'm pretty certain because of Famous Monsters, and just the idea of the two things I remember the most, other than William Shatner being in it, are the cop car driving through town, running over all the spiders because they pop when they run over them, and they. Yeah. So I was like, oh, and it's spiders were hurt in the making of this movie, and the guy, the Baron, when all the spiders are coming at him and he's just screaming his living daylights out, and it's just that just really got me. Although when I watched it now, I swear I saw somebody's hand reach out and throw a spider in there down underneath his feet. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but it's just real quick.
I didn't see the hand, but I saw scenes like that.
Yep,
it seemed like
and just real quick when they first do the shot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So as a kid watching in the 70s, Bill, you can agree with me on this, I imagine. The movie just had a special place. Loved it. I've seen it a couple times since then because I always, whenever it's available, I go back to it. But I watched it again. Probably haven't seen it in a decade or so. I feel like the last time I watched it was in preparation for the episode I mentioned earlier, which was a decade ago. And it just movie it shows its age
Mm-hmm.
because of the time it was filmed and some of the, the dialogue and whatnot, right? But at the same time, because of the spiders actually being real spiders and the people react to the spiders in a way that convinces you very much that they were afraid, whether they were or not, you believe they were afraid. And I will say some of them probably actually were, but so to me, it still works on a base level even today. Although I would imagine a lot of people are a little bit less afraid of spiders today. Except for, well, if you have arachnophobia, you will disagree with me, and I am okay with that. But spiders are, like you said, people have spiders as pets now. So that anyway, I ramble on. So for me, I was very happy to revisit this and enjoyed the hell out of myself.
Yeah, I did too. And well, we'll wait till we get to it. But this is a typical 70s film. This is a downer of an ending.
Oh, I love the ending is so 70s. But they well, not all of them, but most of the 70s films, that was the thing.
That was the thing.
You would end the movie with, with something unexpected.
It was a depressing time. Vietnam, the news was always bad. The happy endings were
the government lies.
Yeah, happy endings were so 50s, 1950s. This is a
right, and all that was in this movie too. They mentioned Vietnam, they mentioned the government. And this is an eco horror because it's all about the pesticide making the spider, altering the spiders. Whatever. They're not mutants, they're just hungry.
Well, we have that touch of sleazy dialogue, and I wish I knew if they wrote it that way or if there was. I mean, I have no reason to say this, but for some reason, I felt like Shatner ad-libbed some of that. I don't know.
I feel like he was doing a lot of his own little stuff in this movie.
The quote that you read comes from he's visiting his brother's widow and daughter, so his niece. And she says, "I don't understand you. You're such a funny guy. You come over and take care of us and everything, but you don't want to. I forget what it is. Stay for dinner. You're like the guy that buys the cow but won't drink the milk." And that's when Shatner says what the quote that Doc read about how he's going to come over and milk that cow sometime.
Ooh,
and she's like all about it because she's got.
She's totally got that. She just can't remember his name.
Oh, that.
Well, that's right.
Womp, womp. Yeah,
totally. And she was actually Shatner's real wife, which we talked about earlier. Yeah,
and yet he had more chemistry with the lady scientist,
which might be why she divorced him eventually.
Maybe.
Sorry, didn't mean to go there, but we did. Is that Marcy Lafferty?
Yes.
Yes. All right. But he's okay. We recently did on the Classic Era, we did a movie called The Manster, and the guy in that is like a total douchebag and womanizer.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, and you hate him for it. In a lot of ways, Shatner's Rack Hansen is almost the same guy. Not quite as severe, but almost the same guy. But somehow Shatner pulls it off.
Shatner.
Out of sheer charisma.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but it's like he's such a woman. I mean, how did
no sooner does he leave his brother's widow after giving her sexual innuendo mega, does he meet the doctor and ask her out to dinner?
Straight away. Waste no time.
No question.
Although I will say I really did enjoy the gas station dialogue between the two of them when he's there and she thinks he's the gas attendant.
Yeah.
And he just plays along and he does that accent. It's so cringeworthy.
He does
hilarious at the same time.
I thought the stuff between the two of them was I don't know that much about her, but I thought she was very natural. She had a different way of acting that didn't feel, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is usually a stock character, right? The female scientist who shows up and everyone's like dismissive, but she knows her stuff and she's got to deal with these Cro-Magnons. But yeah, it felt better because it actually felt a little real. There's just a likable quality to the folks in this movie that got through. Yeah, I mean, you can look at it now. It's like, oh, this is so sexist and everything. The way he's like, I'm going to drive your car. No, it's my car. Like, no, he just gets in there and drives
pushes her over.
He picks her up and puts her in the car himself. Like he gets
like, no, William Shatner, no. Yeah, absolutely, as you should be. But
leaps into her
folks, do not try this
Mercedes
at home
with the leather.
Yeah. Don't anybody ever try this at home, because you are not William Shatner. You will not get away with this.
Yeah, and then he even brings her to the.
Yeah, he brings her to the sister. Yeah,
I know, and she gets all upset.
And the sister, the sister-in-law's all upset. Yeah, shouldn't have called him by a dead husband's name. Oh well, you had one job.
One job. Oh, that's terrible. But you know, I gotta say, I liked all the characters. I mean, the town. It's kind of like movies. But I mean, you get a lot of characters that. Because of the great character actors, and we're going to get to them here in a little bit. They all have these great little personalities and purpose, right? You've got is it the Colbys that own the house where the cows get killed, right?
Yeah.
And Walter and Birch, and they're great, right?
Yeah.
The Baron is great. The police officer, the sheriff is great, and so is Emma Washburn, who owns the hotel, or the campsite, whatever the hell it is. And then
for a cabin.
Exactly. It's a steal nowadays. But they're all great. They're all great. Even the mayor is, the
mayor has just a little touch of Murray Hamilton.
Every mayor did for about 5 years. Every mayor did. That was the role of that mayor. Was
right.
He was one.
There's no monster in this town. That's crazy talk. That person fell out of a tree.
No, yeah.
We're having this celebration.
Yeah, I was going to say, instead of the 4th of July, they're having the celebration, the fair, right? Oh my God, he's just like one jacket full of.
What the hell do you have to celebrate in that town anyway? I mean, celebration. They should be happy. Tarantulas are showing up. That's a theme. Fried tarantula on a stick tastes like shrimp, I'm told. So do something. Work with it. When life gives you tarantulas, make fried tarantula on a stick.
I don't really have arachnophobia, but when I see tarantulas, the thing I picture is the spider in The Incredible Shrinking Man.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah,
that's I saw that when I was like 10, and that baby has been that drooling monster.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So.
Well, you got to find yourself a nice pin and use it like a spear.
Well, what's really creepy, to me, the part that gets really creepy is like, and what's the other show what movie is that in? But the people that are all wound up in the spider web, like a cocoon, they're going to come back and eat them later. That's creepy. That freaked me out.
Well, then we get a lot of people wrapped up in spider webs in this, so
yes,
that is kind of that creepy. But the ending just totally blows all that out of the way. The ending on this movie with the town and everything, it's kind of what Night of the Living Dead-ish kind of ending, where they survive the night, but nope.
Doesn't look good.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't look good for
here. I'll open the door. Why shouldn't you look out the window first?
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a great shot of all the the people in the looking out the window. They all gather around and look out.
There's a lot of
beautifully staged.
There's a lot of tension there too. When every time somebody's got to go down in the basement.
Don't.
I got to go get wood. I got to go get a flashlight. I got to go get this. I got to go check the circuit. The fuses. Every time somebody goes down there, you're just like,
don't do that.
Well, in the fuse time, it's great because you see the windows, and the windows you see that they're covered in spiders. So you're just waiting for all those spiders to somehow make their way in.
Right.
And that happens, and it's just, it's a beautiful thing. You're just waiting. They pay off. It would have been shitty if they didn't.
Well, it's little stuff, you hear this little kind of cracking noise. What was that? Did you hear that? It sounded like it came from the bedroom. Then it comes from right out there, and you see the window covered with spiders starting to crack.
And then when they open up the door, like 100 of them come racing in.
Yeah. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
That's a great shot when that guy went into, what was his name? Hoke. What was his character's name? The gas station attendant that he goes into the shed to get the tire.
Oh no!
And as he's walking out, the spider's chasing him, and they he pulls the door shut or swings the door shut, and the spider bumps right into it, flops him.
But it's great because the camera's like right ground level, falling along behind it. It's a great shot. They really did a lot of work to sell the spiders in this. And
Hoke Howell, he plays Earl.
Earl, good name.
What a great Earl.
What's she doing in the men's bathroom?
And he spits on the spider. He's got that chewing tobacco always in his lip, and he goes, and the spider's like, whoa. It's like
the spider's grossed out. That's bad.
And then the bull that comes out at him. And I mean, I think that's the one time there aren't real spiders. They obviously are just
right.
But at the same time, it really is effective. It just because the bull's doing a great job acting.
Well, he does, and when Walter shows up with the calf in the back, or the I don't know, heifer, the smaller cow anyway. Shatner goes over there, and then it's I at first I was wondering, now are they using? Is this one of those hand doubles? That the hand is in there and it's pulling back the lip and wiping around his mouth and around the eye, and I'm thinking that Shatner's not doing that. But then when they pull back, it sure looks like his hands, and he's still kind of rubbing the gunk from the cow's eye. I'd hand it to him. That's not there's a lot of people wouldn't be too comfortable pulling back, sticking their hand in, rubbing a cow's gums and teeth and stuff with all that.
I feel like he's comfortable in the farm setting or
I think he is. Especially horses. So that makes you're right. That's a good point.
Because
he was a good rider.
Yeah, because Devil's Reign is also in a deserty dry setting. So, and I don't know, he kind of fits that as well as he does being in outer space, doesn't he? He kind of just feels like he belongs there.
Now, I want to correct, in case anybody gets the idea that I don't like, I am like one of the biggest fans of episodic Star Trek as there is. I'm not a Trekkie or a Trekker, but I've watched every episode of all the different series. Have started some of them over again and am loving the new ones. So I was in junior high when Star Trek, the original series, was on. And so that was like a big thing. That was a thing you talked about at school.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So anyway, so I loved that. And it wasn't until later that I started to see the nuances of his acting method.
Which the vocally is not too bad here.
He's pretty good.
But you're right. You're right about his jumping around and moving. He still has the moves.
Yeah, that one place he has to run from the door to the shed or something. He hears somebody scream, and he's running like you would what is the movie? The In-Laws, the Serpentine.
Yeah, Serpentine.
None of the spiders are really moving.
You got to outsmart the spiders.
Anyway. He doesn't want any jumping on them.
Well, they could be leapers. What is that?
Leapers?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
they're usually pretty small, though. Yeah.
No,
there's trapdoor spiders. They'll just sneak up on you.
Oh, man. I hate those. I mean, sidetrack, but those memes that are out now today, I don't know if you've ever seen one where the guys are trying to capture the spider, and there's like a huge spider on the wall, and they'll take a cup and they'll try to get it, and then they'll look in the cup and there's nothing there, and they'll turn around and the damn spider's on their head. That freaks me out, man.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So no, jumping spiders, that makes it even worse. None of them jumped here. They did fall out of things, but they didn't jump.
Well, they handle them a lot too. So it's sort of like they're admitting that they're slow moving and they can pick them up and stuff. but I don't know. Once they said their venom was 5 times more deadly than normal. They fill up the front seat of the pickup, and they're swatting them out of there and stuff. And so it's kind of interesting because it doesn't do like, they're not totally paralyzed by the spiders. They pick them up and stuff like that, but
at least at first.
But the numbers
are on their side.
The army, they literally say they got an army of spiders. Oh my God, that's just not the right words to put together. You don't put the words army and spiders together. That's
right. No, hopefully
not right. Because when the town gets attacked, they're just people running around crazy with spiders all over.
Oh, just cattywampus. I do think that the town attack is maybe not the best portrayal of panic and everything. It's just a little too, the director just, everybody run around like you're scared, and nobody knows really what to do, and there's no purpose. They're like all trying to jump on the car. Why? What's that going to do?
Just stop the sheriff. That's all it's supposed to do.
And really, I realize there are a lot of spiders. There are a lot of spiders, but I think as long as you don't shuffle your feet, as long as you keep a kind of stompy motion and move quickly, you can outrun them. And yet somehow these people get caught, and before you know it, they're all wrapped up in this Tupperware web here.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is when they finally turn the radio on, there's no news whatsoever of their entire town being swallowed up by maniac spiders out for revenge.
Well, that's the media for you, never giving you the real scoop.
Totally isolated. I mean, they sell it great. They build it because they talk about that, the first mound of spiders, and they tell you that all about the spiders usually fight each other, but now they're cooperating, and that's the usual.
Oh no.
Right,
they're cooperating,
and so they burn that one down, and then the next day they go out there and they find like 40 of them further out in the field, and that sells it, right? That builds it, without doing much cinematic work.
Yeah,
they sell it.
Yeah, in a classic case of I killed the killer, but he's really not dead. When they burned that mound. Seriously, you couldn't have just gone to the other side of the mound and seen that.
Right. Oh, they got tunnels.
Of course they got tunnels. It was so funny. Just 2 of them get out, though. I loved it. It was perfect. It was a great shot.
They lay a lot of eggs. Yeah.
They go down and you see them get out, and then they're smart enough to know which car to jump into.
I will say I was impressed with some of the stunts. The water tower falling down was cool.
Yes.
But I was really super impressed with the airplane crashing in front. That
I
really,
was too. I was too.
It's not CGI. It was not green screened. It's like the real actors, and they set it up so that sure looked like. I mean, it was a little bit off camera, but it really they timed it perfectly. So I totally believe that airplane crashed into something and blew up.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. They did time that perfectly. The explosion and the plane hitting there was perfect.
Yeah.
That's the guy they should have had working on the Twilight Zone movie, because this guy had it down.
Yeah. No, that's terrible. But the whole thing, I mean, it's basically the same gag when a plane goes over the mountain, goes between 2 mountains, and you see the explosion. It's kind of like that, but it's real.
The plane flew behind the building, but
but it's right up in front of you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderfully staged. The camera moves because the camera goes along a dolly when Shatner and the girl run around the ground. Yeah,
piece of the building fly out too. I think it was more than just and the real actors were standing there. They were they were closer. The distance didn't show up on the camera shot, but wow, that's.
Yeah, they certainly were in harm's way if something went wrong. That's for sure.
Now, this movie came out before Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I'm thinking William Shatner's career was not in the greatest position.
But there was a lot of talk about the Star Trek movie by then.
Yeah.
So I think it was a big in the news. So
I just feel like the first time he heard about this movie, maybe he wasn't chomping at the bit to do it. But I thought he gave a good performance. Shatner gets a lot of teasing, the way in the same way that Christopher Walken does, because he can sort of fall into self-parody, but he's actually a pretty good actor. And when he wants to be, if you ever saw The Intruder, he can knock it out of the park. He can really.
I just really watched that, and that's as big a horror movie as I've.
Yeah. So I thought he was good here. He did the role fine. He wasn't making any Shatnerisms or anything, any of the weird deliveries. And full kudos. This guy's a real actor, and he's having actual spiders dumped on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, he's covered in them at one point.
Yeah.
And he's picking them up, and he's
and hey, to that little girl too. That little girl, usually in movies like this, I can't wait for the kid to die. I'm rooting for the spiders, but she was good and cute and not irritating. And you know, when you see her swinging on the swing set over a river of spiders, you're like, yikes! How do we get out of this? Yeah. So,
mommy dies saving you. That's how you get out.
That's right.
All right. Well, before we get into all the posters and everything, I suppose we need to do a certain segment that usually Chad does. So I guess guess somebody else is going to have to step in, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be. It is now time for Taglines with Chad, as played by Bill Mulligan.
The part of Chad will be portrayed. The role of Chad will be played by Bill Mulligan.
I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. Oh my god!
This is like when you go to a play and it turns out, you know, the lead actor, their understudy will do just as good a performance. Like, I know. Oh well. Well, I'll try to hold it up in the great tradition of Chad doing taglines. We got a few here. Wow. Tagline number 1. A new species of horror is born. Oh, this
super spiders.
Yeah. You could be the next victim. Good reason to stay out of Arizona.
You could be a victim, and you could be a victim. Everybody could be a victim.
A living, crawling hell on earth.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. Followed by a living, crawling horror on earth for those places where you can't say hell, I guess.
The South.
Yeah. A wild science fiction nightmare.
Woo!
Okay. Anytime a movie says it's wild, it just sounds like your elderly uncle who just hasn't gotten the message yet. Oh, I was having a wild time.
Well, I love science fiction.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I mean, that's the way it is. You know, what is that old line, like any suitable advancement would look like magic,
right,
or something like that. Well, the science fiction is the spiders are pissed because you killed off all their prey with pesticides, and now somehow or another they became that much more lethal.
Right.
And they work together, and there's millions of them. They've learned how to breed faster too. Even though there's no food.
Yeah, there's no food, so they go after big things, sure. Whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah. And finally, there's no escaping their web of terror.
I love it. Love a good pun. A good pun, yes.
Yep.
It was a good pun.
And that was Taglines
with Chad, as played by Bill Mulligan.
Love it. All right, let's get into some posters here, because I always love this part of this show. This is the one I remember seeing. That is the one. Because that there's your giant spider. Although
that's exactly right. That is the spider from The Incredible Shrinking Man, right?
Sure is.
Yep. And but I mean, look at the logo's great too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just great.
The last thing a fly ever sees. But I do like the title here, and the poster's kind of good too. The Horrible Invasion. And my wife would agree. That would be her nightmare. This is what would make her wake up screaming. That she swears that her earliest memory is being a baby in a crib, and a spider is on the ceiling and is lowering itself toward her. And
no.
A mere babe, cannot get away. And I'm like, hon, that doesn't sound real, but it doesn't matter if it's real. She remembers it that way.
Oh, God, sounds terrifying. Is what it sounds like.
Needless to say, I'm the guy who kills the spiders in the house, and that's why she keeps me around, because we live in the South, and they've managed to figure a way in.
They do. There's not them and cockroaches.
Well, you mean palmetto bugs?
Palmetto bugs, yes.
Cockroaches.
This is another good one with Shatner doing something.
I don't really want to look at it for too long. I
just don't even understand that.
A little allusions to the conclusion of the movie, too.
It's like That's just too suggestive to not be
intentional. Sure is.
It's got to be intentional.
But that's the living, crawling hell on earth. But for my money, that's the one.
Yeah.
That is just, oh my gosh. All right, let's talk about John Bud Carlos, because we've done a few of his films.
We have.
The director. The Dark being the one that we did on this and The Dark has
Dark. What a mess.
Hilarious history to it. And not even after the director was fired and replaced by Bud Carlos. And who was the original director?
Toby Hooper.
And then he also did Daytime Ended, Mutant, Skeleton Coast.
Did I not have a yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I was getting ready to do it. Yep.
I like the Daytime Ended. It's got stop motion animation and doesn't make a lick of sense. Bud Cardos, he just seems like someone who gets called in when they need someone. He's going to finish the film. It's going to be done. It's going to be efficient and everything. I don't know if he was a great director, but
he handled this film great.
I thought he did a fine job on this. And for some reason, I have this tremendous affection for The Dark. I don't know why.
It's not a good movie, but there's some. I mean, and it's not because of the direction. It's just because the script is it doesn't make any.
Yeah. Well, when you make the movie and then at the last minute they say, you know what, we should have made this a space movie. You're like, well, too bad we already finished the movie. It's like, oh, not a problem. We got to work around.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Couple visual effects and but it does. We have a full episode that we did that in. Oh my God, we got into it. But he was also known as an actor. He was a stuntman. He was in the transportation department, second unit director for 17 films. He was a production manager, producer.
So he's a guy who loved movies. He loved movies and movie making, and should be celebrated for that. Jack of all trades. That's cool.
Yeah, he was second unit director on The Wild Bunch.
Oh, wow. Wow.
All right. But then he was second unit director on The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. So,
well, there you go.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
We won't talk about the rest of them, though. Oh, man.
I'll bet he's no longer with us, is he? I believe he passed away. But I'm not sure exactly when. I feel like it was relatively
2020.
Yeah, relatively. That's too bad. He seems like someone who probably would be a fun interview.
He was 91.
Wow.
His acting credits are kind of interesting too. He not good movies, but Blood of Dracula's Castle.
Oof, y'all say. So he knew Al Adamson.
Yeah, Nightmare and Wax.
Satan's the Blood Monster.
Satan Sadist.
Yeah.
Horror of the Blood Monsters. Yeah, he was a vampire caveman.
Wow.
That's your part. Uncredited as a vampire caveman.
Yeah, I think he just kind of showed up and did things.
Hell's Bloody Devils. He plays a hitman and a bloody devil.
And a bloody devil.
He was on Daniel Boone. A couple times. The Savage 7.
Those all sound like Al Adamson movies.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Except Daniel Boone doesn't.
No.
Anyway, so interesting.
They are, as a matter of fact.
Oh, are they?
No.
Well, Horror of the Blood Monsters is.
Oh, well,
for
not,
sure.
Not Daniel Boone, though.
No, not Daniel.
But I think he does a great job handling this film. I mean, there's no slouching in this movie. Like you said, the shot when the plane wreck is insanely well done. That scene with Shatner trying to put the fuse box back together is tense. He handles live animal stuff with the bull and of course all the thousands of spiders themselves.
Yep.
I mean, it's really well done stuff. I think it's really well.
Oh
done.
yeah.
The only thing going against it is just how preposterous the whole thing is, right?
And I don't know that a movie like this would necessarily be improved much by a bigger budget and better special effects, because then they would be tempted to go for CGI. Well, they didn't have CGI back then, but the cheapness kind of works for it, because you can tell those are real spiders, that they didn't have a budget to make any good fake spiders. They probably couldn't even afford invisible string to pull the rubber spiders along. It was cheaper just to pay $10 a spider to go out in the desert and look for them.
Well, there was a spider wrangler somewhere, but I mean, the Invasion of the Spider wasn't Invasion of the Spiders? Invasion of the
Giant Spider Invasion?
Giant Spider Invasion. Yes, Giant Spider Invasion. God, I got my everything backwards. They just put a spider on a Volkswagen. So, the fake spider. So,
when they say the story about them having to spend all this money because people actually went out and found all those spiders, I totally believe it, because I once went out in the desert with a friend. He wanted to find some scorpions. Like, okay, I need a better bunch of friends. And he brought a black light with him, a fluorescent light.
Oh, wow.
Battery operated. Okay, so here's the thing. It's dark outside. It's the desert. Beautiful. Oh my God, the stars. You realize why they call it the Milky Way when you're out in the desert. Just a clear, cloudless sky, pitch black. Yeah. Then he turns on this freaking black light, and you realize that the desert is teeming with scorpions. They are everywhere. You've probably stepped on a few without meaning to on the way out, and they glow in the dark under a black light. So the horror never ends. They're everywhere. So yeah, the desert looks desolate and lifeless, but truly horrifying creatures have figured out a way to make it work. See, Kingdom of the Scorpions, I wouldn't even watch. Just like no. Bleep that noise. Yeah.
Bleep that noise. Oh my God. All right, I guess we should talk about William Shatner, of course. Everybody knows him as Captain Kirk.
Yep.
He will forever be. Yeah, or TJ Hooker, but he'll be forever known as
or Denny Crane.
Yes, he will.
Denny Crane. Oh my God, Denny Crane. Yes. A long career that's still going. He's 90, isn't he? 90? Didn't he just turn 90?
Yeah, and he's going to be at Dragon Con this weekend, I think. So,
oh wow!
And so is Bill Mulligan for those.
So am I, but I'm going to have a considerably smaller line of people willing to pay for my autograph. I suspect. I may be wrong. Yeah, and God love him. 91, and he's still out there schlepping. Making money, seeing the fans. I mean, he's and I think he's probably stopped doing this, but it seemed like every time you wrote him off, he'd reinvent himself and just come up with a new way to exploit his fame, his persona. Denny Crane was a great invention, showing a lighter touch. He's gotten a lot of criticism over the years, and he's got an ego, obviously, and he's a character. But
it's like, and it isn't that kind of stuff makes him sort of ripe for impersonators.
Mm-hmm.
His sort of cadence, which is funny, but that doesn't mean he's a terrible actor.
No,
I mean, Peter Lorre's another guy like that.
Yeah, I've talked about this.
Edward G. Robinson, and they're both
exactly in the old days. A great actor was someone that you could imitate. You could do a James Cagney, a Humphrey
Jimmy
Bogart.
Stewart, yeah.
Yeah, they had something, and even if they may play good guys, they may play bad guys. Sometimes when they acted against type, it was really cool because Fred McMurray is Fred McMurray, and suddenly he's in The Postman Always Rings Twice. I mean, it's a shock to see him playing a different role. That's what actors were like. And
Double Indemnity.
Actors today, I mean, I think Brad Pitt's a fantastic actor, but if someone came up to me and said, I'm going to do the best Brad Pitt impersonation you've ever seen, and they do it, I'm like, I guess. I mean, you can't do, hey, I'm going to do Brad Pitt goes to a Burger King and orders a chocolate shake. What would that even look like? I don't know. I don't know what Brad Pitt does the character, and he plays a different character, and he does it differently each time. Okay, that's what modern acting, I guess, has become, with a few exceptions like Christopher Walken. Shatner is more that old school thing. It's very theatrical. Although I think he really toned it down here. He was not going over the top. And
not at all.
it would have fallen into parody if he was, kind of goofing on this. Then
that the only thing that seemed like a parody was the running through the spiders, and I'm sure, who knows who directed him to do that. But
now, how else would you got to? I don't know. He was trying to sell that they were scary. I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
But I was laughing.
He may have been, Shatner is an animal lover. I wonder if maybe he was trying not to step on them. And this is the only way to not step on a giant pile is to hop around like a ninny, just prance around like a pixie to try to avoid stepping on him. Because you felt the chemistry with him and both the women. I mean, his wife, but also
which I didn't know until the beginning of the show. So that was awesome. Before we get to the rest of the character actors, let's just get the spiders out of the way, right? Because aren't they really the star? So there's a great shot of Shatner covers, but I love that he was showing. He's got the flashlight down him, so you can see him. So I mean, but who's this guy with all the spiders?
I don't know. He was on his way
casualty in the town.
All-you-could-eat buffet line at Denny's, and they got him. They should be able to feed off him for a while.
Yeah, he was probably laying there when they got him.
Yeah, he was just sleeping it off from the night before. And
maybe. Oh yeah, but here's some more spiders. Oh my god!
There's the great ending, and the guy in the airplane. That's everyone's nightmare, right? You're
especially mine.
You're in one of those Buddy Holly special airplanes that look like they're going to fall apart any moment.
Buddy Holly.
Yeah, and now just to add to it, there's a bunch of tarantulas all over you.
Which happened in Iowa, I'll have you know.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, Buddy Holly?
He was playing at the, I think it was a surf ballroom at Clear Lake.
The Big Bopper and who else? Richie Valens, right?
Richie Valens.
Yeah. Day the music died.
Yep.
That brought us all down. Hey, let's get back to Kingdom of the Spiders. That's a great ending right there. That's a great shot. Okay, it's obviously a matte painting. I mean, it's not fooling anybody, but
it sells what it sells what it does.
Yeah. And haven't you seen some of the memes from like Australia or something where occasionally this actually sort of happens where millions of much smaller spiders land and they just make webs all over the town? And I'm like, well, I can just cross that off the list of places I will ever go on vacation with my wife.
I've seen trees covered in spider webs.
Yeah.
Not a town, but I've seen if you ever see, Florida, they have these spiders that would long-legged spiders come out like one time during the season, and trees would just be covered with them and spider webs. Oh, it's frightening.
Yep. Nope.
Well, it's a nice touch to have the welcoming banner there for the celebration.
Sure. Yeah.
But we do. I mean, it pulls out from the hotel thing, right? And we get to see that, and it shows like the sign for the hotel, and then it kind of pulls back a little bit. And now you're in the town itself, and it really does kind of. And then it cuts to country music and ruins the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
I meant to bring that up before. When the opening theme going into this, I'm like, first off, I thought it was. I hate music like that. Both the intro and outro music, but in hindsight, it kind of fits the town.
It does fit the town, yeah.
The way they act, the sort of the hick gas station and the hick hotel and anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're absolutely right. All right, let's get to the character actors, and you've isolated one of them. Woody Strode as Walter Coppola. So tell us about Woody there, Jeff?
Oh, well, Bill pulled those up, but
I bet Jeff knows more about Woody Strode than I do.
Well, I mean, the thing that I watch repeatedly in a year is the intro to Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah, great.
Where he and Jack Elam and I believe an Italian or Spanish actor are standing outside on this train station with a platform made. Anyway, he's standing under the water tower and water's dripping down on that hat. Mm-hmm. It's just an awesome scene. It goes on for a long time. It's It's quintessential Sergio Leone. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, he's great. He doesn't last very long.
No, he's not in the movie for a long time.
Charles Bronson takes him out, but you also
he's got
have
just a great presence.
Yeah, well, he's got not quite 100 credits, but I just love him. And he did have a starring role, and I forget who directed that. Sergeant Rutledge.
Oh, that was John Ford.
Yeah. Excellent Western. So
I think he was in a couple of John Ford movies. But yeah, he's got that gravitas. He's got that look. He's wonderful in Spartacus. That's the shot on the bottom, just one of my favorite movies. So here's a guy who worked with Kubrick, worked with Leone, worked with Bud Cardos. Just did a lot of stuff and gave it his all in everything. He didn't, it's like he didn't say to himself, "Well, this ain't Spartacus. It's not $1 million budget or anything. Just going to hack it out." He was good. He was good in this.
Well, I forgot about the man who shot Liberty Valance. He plays Pompey.
Well, I know Chad's not here, but there is a Batman connection. So he was in 2 episodes of Batman the TV series, which I guess this usually comes up on the classic era more. But Grand Mogul, I don't know who.
Yeah. Well, anytime you get into these actors that are in tons of TV stuff, they end up.
They end up on the Batman.
What is he? What's he? Oh, he plays the Grand Mogul.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
Sure. Marcia, Queen of Diamonds. Isn't that Carolyn Jones play Marcia, Queen of Diamonds?
Oh.
I'm going to feel bad if I'm wrong.
He's one of the main henchmen, right? He's like he wears a turban.
Yeah. Carolyn Jones plays him. Yep.
Very good.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he's great in this. He's great in this. And so is the actress that plays his wife. Yeah, great. Like I said, all these they play great characters. So you want to get to the rest of the character actors?
Sure.
So take over, Jeff. Let us know who these.
Well, the one on the top right is Marcy Lafferty, who was Shatner's wife at the time for I think 23 years till 96.
Top right or top left?
What did I say? Top left. Okay. She's on the top left. And I thought I wrote something down about her, but maybe not. Just that she was Shatner's wife for 23 years. But she's in a few things. She's in another one of those, the Bud. Wasn't she in what was the name of that one? The Time?
Daytime Ended, yeah.
Daytime Ended, yeah. So there's some crossovers here. And you see she was in like the Star Trek movie.
Surprise. TJ Hooker, surprise.
So, but she does fine in here. I don't think she quite has the chops of some of the other ones, but it works.
They give her the opportunity, like when she goes into the kitchen. When
she freaks out. Well, and her kids getting attacked by giant horde of spiders. Yeah.
But I was talking about when she was all upset because you brought the other woman to the door.
She says, "Yeah, I'm sorry about that." "Oh no, she seems like a wonderful woman," and she runs back in the house. Yeah.
That's a little bit. Yeah. So who's the actress on the right?
Yeah, the one on the right is Altavisa Davis, Sammy Davis's wife.
Yeah.
So the cast on this is interesting with their connections to this, sort of like interconnectedness, I guess. And she doesn't have very many credits at all either. What did you guys were talking about? She was in Can't Stop the Music.
Yeah, the classic Can't Stop the Music. One of Bill Mulligan's favorite films of all time.
Just a great. You can't stop.
Directed by Nancy Walker.
Nancy Walker, not Nancy Allen. I don't know what I was thinking. Nancy Walker. Sure. Why not?
Featuring Bill.
The Village People. And Valerie Perrine.
Oh, my God.
It hurt the careers of everyone who even went to see it. It's just
oh my God! Did you
killed the disco movie dead?
She was,
it's not all bad.
And she was Sammy Davis's wife until he died.
Yep.
In 1990. Who else we got there? The woman in the second from the top left is Lou Dressler, who we have talked about her before in Grave of the Vampire.
Ooh.
She was in Grave of the Vampire. She also did, where I knew her from is she did a bunch of episodes of General Hospital in the late 70s, early 80s, which was when I was kind of a house husband sitting at home. I used to go over to a friend of mine's and he had a kid my kid's age, and we'd have a couple beers and watch General Hospital while the kids What's Luke and Laura now? What about Scorpio? What's he?
Oh yeah, like, just down a couple Valium.
We were totally into that. Anyway,
so was all of America at that point, right?
It was a big deal at the time. She was also did an episode of Night Stalker, the Nightly Murders, the one with the night.
Ooh.
Oh.
She was in the second episode of Columbo. And a thing that I found interesting is she started a like actors or drama workshops in 1969 called the Sweatshop at the Patio Playhouse, which later became the Gym. And with her and the people that worked there developed technique and theories now referred to as the mechanics of believability. I don't know if that rings a bell to anybody, but I'm always interested when people that are, they're sort of journeyman character actors that do a great job of playing these parts. And in this movie, she plays the owner of this hotel, and she's got a crush on the sheriff who's next to her, David McLean. And she's just so sweet about it. And so old fashioned, she calls him the big ugly. It's just interesting.
I mean, she's a great actress, does a great character. You like her. You don't want her to die, which is, a lot of times in these movies, the characters are so either bland or so annoying. You want them to die as soon as possible. But you care about, you don't want these characters to get it. Maybe the two that, have the RV, those are fine. Even though they survived, they can die. But you didn't want her to die. At least I didn't.
No. And when she finds old Fred, who is he has a little, I don't know, there's some shot where he's carrying something, but then better go check on old Fred. And that was one of your pictures, I think.
Nope,
he's all bound up. Not well. So yeah, I enjoyed her.
Middle?
No. Try the other one. Oh, maybe we don't have a picture of him.
Okay.
I was thinking we did. No, he's laying in a shed on a bag of fertilizer of spiders all over him, wrapped in a cobweb. All right. So David McLean is the guy on the right next to her, second down on the right. And the thing that I found the most interesting about him is he was the lead cop against Victor Buono in The Strangler in 1964. Kind of a sleazy horror picture. He also was in The Andromeda Strain and was in 137 episodes of Days of Our Lives in the mid-60s. Death Sport in 1978 with David Carradine and Roger Corman. But in the mid-60s, he played the Marlboro Man on all the television commercials. That's really kind of... So anyway, I just like looking up what these people have done. That's just interesting to me that we got this, relatively small part. And Bill, you talked about that water tower. I thought that was an interesting choice. I guess they needed somebody to die. Well, let's see. Walter goes over the cliff with this old pickup, but he's also wrapped in the spider web. But this guy gets crushed by a water tower.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. Oh, exactly the wrong place. Yeah. Who else do we have here? So on the left, next one down, third down on the left is Roy Engel. He plays the mayor, and he's all concerned that, you can't let people know about, you got to kill all these spiders or it's going to ruin our celebration. He's got over 200 credits. He had like 150 credits in the 50s, in which he was in, and I don't know how big of parts these were, but most of them had names. The Colossus of New York, Not of This Earth, a Corman film, Indestructible Man, The Night of the Hunter, It Came from Beneath the Sea, Killers from Space, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, The Magnetic Monster, The Black Castle, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, good one.
Zombies of the Stratosphere, which I haven't seen that, but I got to 52. The Man from Planet X in 51, which was an Edgar Ulmer film, which we just mentioned earlier because we were connecting John Carradine in The House of Dracula to Bluebeard that came out like almost the same year. Was directed by Edgar Ulmer. M, a remake of M that was directed by Joseph Losey. He was also in one episode of The Texan, which I got to throw in because that's Rory Calhoun, and The Flying Saucer in 1950. And so all through there, he had like 150 movies in the 150 credits in the 50s. Every film noir, westerns, and these horror, everything from, recognized good movies in horror and science fiction to not so recognized movies in horror and science fiction. So he was very recognizable to me. Next to him is Hoke Howell, who was Earl at the gas station, who was selling this old guy a tire. And he was in some odd stuff. Droid Gunner in 95, Star Hunter 96. He kind of got into this into the 90s. Teenage Exorcist, Wizards of the Demon Sword, Evil Spirits, Alienator, Haunting Fear, Body Organ Replacement Network, listed as Born, B.O.R.N, Avenging Angel, which that's an interesting series of movies that have Rory Calhoun in them as a street performer playing a like a retired gunslinger and that's and there's one before that. I think the first one is just Angel, and then there's Avenging Angel.
Yeah. I was going to say, those at home playing the drinking game, he mentioned Rory Calhoun. It's time to take a drink.
Twice.
Yes.
Humanoids from the Deep.
Oh man, one of my favorite 80s movies.
Absolutely.
Which was one of the first ones we did on 80s, and Grand Theft Auto.
He was the preacher.
And I didn't spend a lot of time looking him up, but the guy in the bottom is Whitey Hughes, but he's got over 300 combined credits between being a stuntman and an actor. And I think you guys were checking out some of the stuff he did. And then you mentioned Bill Kuntz, who was the old guy that needed the spare tire.
Yes.
He was in Lady Frankenstein.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Well, can't win them all there, guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Whitey Hughes looked pretty cool. He had a scream, a very memorable scream. He screamed like a little girl, I guess. It's but that's all right. He's covered with spiders in an airplane with no place to go. He can't even just pull over to the side and jump out, But stunt work in Men in Black, as late as that, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I know you don't have a picture of Natasha Ryan, who plays.
Who
plays the young girl in the show. But she is in a lot of genre films, and so we need to talk about her.
Yes.
She was one of the kids in Amityville Horror from '79.
Yes, I knew you'd notice that.
Yeah, she was in Daytime Ended as well, Bill. And then she was in The Entity.
Oh wow.
She was one of the young kids.
Like I said, she was a good actress in this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, look at that. 157 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Hope
5-year
Williams.
period. That's a lot of work for a kid. That's why I meant she was seasoned. When you do that much.
That's true.
Fatso.
Yep. And she was one of her early roles was young Sybil, the child Sybil in the TV series.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember.
But she looks like she stopped acting around 83. Do we know why?
I don't.
No.
She would have been just like 13.
You're not getting the little kid roles anymore, and maybe hopefully she and her parents invested the money well, and she was able to.
Yeah, it just says that she left the acting world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all right.
That's all right.
Oh, absolutely, it's all right. Probably good move. But I hope she's doing well.
We didn't say much about Tiffany Bowling, who plays the scientist lady.
Oh yeah.
She was a spider lady in Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. Let's mention that.
Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. I love that show. That was a great show.
No, it wasn't. It might be good in your memories, but no, it's not a good show. Does anybody remember what The New People was on TV? The New People. She was in that. Looks like it made it one season. But a lot of TV, here and there. This looks like it might have been one of her bigger roles, actually.
Oh, I thought she was good in it. Very natural.
Yeah. I liked her quite a bit. I'm kind of surprised she didn't have more work. I thought she was really, really good. All right. I guess the last thing we should say is one of the special effects artists involved in this people will probably recognize today. And she, of course, this was like one of her first gigs. And then she grew to be a Academy Award winning makeup artist and would be part of what was the show she was a part of? I keep forgetting.
Face Off.
Face Off. V. Neal, who is a very respected
very much
effects artist. And so I imagine she did a lot of the spider bites and webbing, I would imagine. Which all looked great, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And there was some blood splattered here and there, especially when the guy came out of the car after it got squished. Just lying on the ground. But I mean, that's interesting. I mean, because her career is, I mean, just it's too much to even mention here. But you won 3 Academy Awards, Jeff, right? Do you remember which ones they were?
Yes. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Great job.
That's the one I remember. Oh, Beetlejuice.
Edward.
Beetlejuice.
Was it Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah. And Ed Wood.
Oh, yes. Ed Wood has amazing makeup. Oh my gosh. So she's certainly good. And this is the sort of movie you start out with, and she did a good job and has continued to. So yeah, she's one of the most respected people.
Yeah. And know, with the news that recently happened, she was involved with Big Top Pee Wee and Pee Wee's Playhouse.
So you asked about The New People.
Yes.
I hate when I find out about shows I knew nothing about.
No.
A group of young people crash land on a deserted island that was a never used atomic bomb test site.
Ruh-roh.
The world thinks they were all killed, so they set out to form a civilization free from problems and mistakes that their parents made.
I'll bet complications ensue.
I bet. And she's a star. Lost. She's the first one listed. So
it does sound like Lost.
17 episodes.
Huh. So yeah, it's science fiction. What year was that?
69-70.
Yeah, they had no idea what to do. They always would have these science fiction shows that they put on Friday night when all the science fiction fans were, I was going to say out dating, but that was clearly not the case. But anyway, we weren't home and the shows never got watched, and they just one after another, they'd last a season. And that was it.
Right. Well, they would put them there. Yeah. Yeah, the synopsis ends with a task that soon becomes much more challenging than they had anticipated, which would be the same as, problems ensue.
Shenanigans, like maybe radioactive mutants or something. I don't know.
Anyway, she's another one that you look at her and wonder why, what makes the long-term careers and what that are everywhere. And I think it's sort of it is what they're planning to do. She really didn't do much after 88. She's got one credit. Charlie's Angels, Life and Times of Grizzly Adams. So she's doing TV shows there too.
As every character actor would be doing. Well, there you go. I mean, that's a lot of talk about Kingdom of Spiders when all you really care about are the spiders. One thing is that we've talked about the spiders getting squished. That William Shatner wrote in his autobiography that was the part that distressed him the most, was how many were killed on the set.
Yeah.
And of course, unsurprisingly, like you mentioned, the film does not have any, no animals were harmed or injured on the production, because obviously they were.
Obviously, many were.
Yes. But let's go ahead and move on. We're almost as long as the movie itself. But check this movie out. Where did we watch it? I watched mine, I think, on Tubi.
I watched it on Tubi, but I'm not a huge fan of the comedic rips on the movies, but there's a Riff Tracks version of this on Amazon that's really good.
Is it really good? I might have to watch that.
It's really good.
Because there's plenty to make fun of in this movie.
Man,
sure.
Good.
I mean, because it is straddling the fence in a really, really big way. But definitely check this film out and let us know what you think. Let us share your memories of this film. When did you see it and all that? Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is no Blu-ray available. There was one that came out, but it's out of print, and it's now, if it's the one I'm remembering, it runs like $80-90.
No, don't get that. Yeah. Don't do that. But
I'd love to hear the behind the extras on that, though.
Yeah, somebody needs to reissue that, because I think I would want that one. I don't know. I have a soft spot for this.
Vinegar Syndrome.
I have a soft spot for this one. But of course, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. They're each and every one of those easy, free to do, and they'll help us find more horror fans like you, just like you. And they'll come here and watch this too. Yay! Jeff, we have some feedback.
We have a couple.
Uh-oh.
On a couple different movies, but from the same person.
No,
we know what that means.
Guess who that is, Bill?
Episode is okay if I just read these?
Sure. Go right to
it. Episode 195, 3 on a Meat Hook. From Jerry Chandler. A film where the title was the best part.
You can stop there. That was great. No, go ahead.
And as Chad always says, ... for dramatic pause. I kind of wish William Girdler had done this later in his career. The movie actually has way more potential than he was able to pull off at this point in his career. Nice splatter, some nice WTF moments, but it's just a film that never seems, at least for me, to fully find its groove.
Yeah.
I don't think we disagree with that.
No.
Episode 196, Lust for a Vampire, from Jerry Chandler. Jerry says, I don't know what they were thinking with this film. It's one of the Hammer films I really don't have a great love for. It's just sort of took some good ideas and went completely off the rails, and not off the rails in a good way. This film is kind of like seeing all the ingredients for a great New York pizza being laid out in front of you and getting served a Chicago-style deep dish instead.
Oh my, that's weird.
I myself like Chicago deep dish, but okay. All kinds of pizzas are good. And some fool came along and threw pineapple on it, and I like pineapple on pizza.
That would be me. I would have thrown the pineapple on it.
Yep.
It's watchable, but it's the weakest of the three films, and it really makes you wonder what Hammer was thinking as they began making more and more films that began to falter and stumble. It doesn't bring the strongest of the Hammer elements, and it doesn't break away from the Hammer style and enter into the newer generation of films they were trying to complete with enough to be with enough to be something different. There are moments in here where it feels like you're watching a film made by a Hammer fan who doesn't quite actually understand what made Hammer films great. It's one of several from this area. You wish they had sat down with the script a few more times and then maybe gave more thought towards how to execute and what they wanted to put up on the screen.
It doesn't work out that way.
Not sure we disagree with that either. But the women, the Hammer women.
Yep.
All righty. That's it for feedback. Hey, folks. More feedback.
It's nice to hear. Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry.
Weigh in on pineapple on pizza. Whatever. Deep dish versus New York style.
Yes.
I'm going to see Jerry this weekend at Dragon Con. He's the guy who got me to go out there. Yeah.
Whoops. Tell him we all said hello.
Now, isn't there some great piece of cake you always get when you go?
Oh my God! Right? Yes, the Metro Diner. The Metro Diner, right down the street from the Westin. They give you a cake. It's the size of a dinosaur's head, and you can never finish it. You can never finish it, and you're so sick of sugar and the glucose and everything that you're just like, no, don't wrap it up. I'll never eat cake again. And then about 3 hours later, you're just like hitting yourself. Why did I not take that cake with me? I just eat it with my hands while driving right now. It's so good. That place better still be open.
Yeah, no kidding.
It will be. It will. No, I don't know.
It was a good time. I often think about when we all got to go out to Dragon Con together. The bunch of us.
Yep.
Santos, Doc. Yeah.
Haven't been there in a few years.
I know. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're down there and you're listening to this before it happens, be sure to look up Bill and say hello.
Yeah.
You're going to be on a number of panels.
And so will the lovely Crystal Cleveland, who is making her Dragon Con debut, and she's going to be moderating a few panels too.
And I think Christopher G. Mohr is there too.
Oh, he's
Christopher
definitely
G.
there.
Mohr will be there. Thomas Mariani. There's a lot of really cool people that will be at Dragon Con.
Definitely. Yeah, Thomas is a mainstay there now. He fell in love with it. Oh man, tell him I said hello.
Great. I will.
All right. So our next episode, we are returning to David Cronenberg in the 70s. And we're doing, this is Jeff's pick. We're doing Shivers.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. That's early Cronenberg.
Kind of surprised we haven't done that. But
I am too. I feel like we did, but I guess
I'm shocked. I thought we had done.
Unless I missed it, because I haven't done it.
Well, it's new to you then.
So, if we did, we're doing it again.
I looked at all the episodes before I joined and it wasn't there. So yeah, it's on Tubi right now. Imagine that. And I thought,
we've done so many movies. I'm sure if we talk about Cronenberg, if we do a Cronenberg movie,
we'll probably talked about it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it when we did Rabid, because there's some definite.
Right. But it definitely deserves its own thing. I mean, it's got Barbara Steele. It's early Cronenberg. You can see the beginnings of what became body horror. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's on Tubi.
Of course, it's on Tubi.
Popcorn Flicks, and then Mubi, Cult Picks, and pay-per-view on like Apple TV and Google Play and YouTube, Vudu. So it's out there. I looked at the Tubi one, and that was pretty good quality. So
good.
Oh, good. All right. Well, with that, we're signing off. We're getting out of here. Bill, Jeff, thank you for joining me as always.
Thanks, Doc.
A lot of fun.
Thank you all.
What the heck?
Have a great trip, Bill.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next episode, he'll tell us all about his trip.
Oh, yes. About my big slice of cake.
Yes, absolutely. And what Jerry had.
I'll do a nice a spell or something so you don't get con crud.
No con crud. No con crud.
No con crud.
No.
I just did a cruise and didn't get any crud. So
congratulations. Yes. All right. Well, with that, we are out of here. We're saying goodnight. So let's say goodnight, Bill and Jeff.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.